welcome to Find It. I am your host, Debbie Bettendorf, and tonight we have a faith-fueled, motivational, inspirational woman here. And she has a book that was written in 2021, but she's so much more than just an author. She's a mother. She is a coach. She is a fitness model. Can't wait to get into that. And so much more. So hang tight. We're going to show her intro, and Kelley Tyan will be right back with us. Kelley.
Hello, Debbie. I'm so excited for tonight.
I am too. I'm so glad you're here. I've been so pumped about it. And I was telling people on social media that I just started reading this, and I wish I had read the whole thing because I really need it. I really do. I think everyone needs a little motivation, inspiration, faith, and all the things that it offers here. Hi, Sean Benson. We have some people coming in already. I love the cover. I love the way it's laid out on the inside, and there's little prayers at the very end, and it's faith, fuel, and fitness. It's in 3 categories, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I showed before, so for everybody else, before the show started, I was showing Kelley, I'm using this mug because, well, first of all, how cute is this together? And look what it says on the other side. Be fierce. Now, if this was made just for her, it'd say be fierce and be faithful. All of those things are great, but that's so good. Megan Brown got me this. Thank you, Megan, if you're watching. Anyway, cheers to that. So, Kelley, I want to know more about you. I have been looking you up and I've learned so much, but you also have this podcast. And it's so beautiful, the way with the pinks and all of that. When did you start your podcast?
Well, thank you for all these compliments. I feel so blessed already just to be here. I love pink. So yeah. If I could do my whole brand, I mean, most everything I do is pink. Had to add a little black in the writing too, but yes. And I love the mug because I'm a leopard girl as well. So might as well get that out there, that I need that mug. If you find out where you got it,
I'll get you one.
Love. So, okay. So my podcast, you asked, was 3 years ago. Wow. I started the podcast first when I had a download of the name Addicted to the Climb. And we can jump into that, but a little bit, the podcast was really a passion project that I said, I'm just going to start this podcast and help people climb higher by sharing stories and just having conversations with people so other people can feel inspired to stay on the climb. And that's what it started out as. Then I wrote the book and it all evolved from there. Addicted to the
Climb. What inspired you to write the book? I get it. Okay, so the podcast was probably right during 2020. Mm-hmm. You knew people needed to talk to somebody and you started a podcast. Brilliant. Yeah. But then what inspired you to write the book, Addicted to the Climb?
So Addicted to the Climb goes way back. I grew up, I'm going to tell you a quick little story of my background so you can know where this all came from. I grew up an only child with 2 loving parents. My mom was my best friend from the moment I was born. We had an amazing relationship. However, she struggled with rheumatoid arthritis from the moment I was born. So I watched her whole entire life, just surgery after surgery. It's a very taxing disease on your body in every single way, mind, body, and soul. So her joints were attacked constantly. However, she smiled every single day. And all of that was because she had such a deep faith. She had such a deep faith in God. She always had her Bible in her hand, and she got through everything she went through. So as a little girl, I just watched this woman be the epitome of resilience. And so as I grew up and things I had gone through as a teenager and then being an adult and having my own children, many things have happened in my life And I always think of my mom. If she can jump back, if she gets out of bed every day, then I can too. And I realized at 3 years ago when I was thinking of a name of a podcast, I was actually listening to another podcast and somebody asked one of the either the guest or somebody said, "Well, what are you addicted to?" And I sat there and thought about that question because I shut it off. I was like, I'm not addicted to anything. I don't have an addictive personality. And then the bright light. I am addicted to the climb. I am a person that just doesn't want to stop. I never want to quit. I always want to just get back up on my feet, just like my mom did. And addicted to the climb. That was the birth of that. And that was the name I chose for my book. And your question that you asked me was about the book. It was really personal stories that I wanted to share with people, things that I went through in my own life, things that I've seen my mother go through. And I wanted people to know that they're not alone and we don't have to stop climbing just because a setback happens or a challenge happens in our life. Or for me, I was faced with breast cancer, for an example. And why should I stop? Why should I let breast cancer take me out? Why can't I keep climbing even though I got the diagnosis of that? So in a nutshell, that's what Addicted to the Climb is all about. It's really about instilling hope, courage, and strength for others to know that if I can do it, I'm no different than you. We can keep climbing if we choose to.
Of course. And during a really, for me, serious time, we get a message from Joe Ingram from, by the way, who was how I found you. So how did I find it? I found you through Joe Ingram. He says, Kelley immediately thought of being addicted to my show. Debbie, you know how that is. Of course, Joe. I'm glad you came in because you are the reason. Is this the Battle of the Blondes? Well, I'll tell you what. Like I said in the beginning, first of all, you guys let us know you're here because I am going to mail a copy of Kelley's book to someone who will be in a drawing. Just let us know you're here so you can be in the drawing for the book. It's really, really cool. When you talk about the climb and then you talk about the things in your life that you've gone through because, you sit here and the people who are tuning in may say, oh gosh, look at her. She's got it all. Well, yeah, you do, but you've worked hard for it and you've had a lot of challenges. When you got that diagnosis of breast cancer, when was it? And was it when, I know you relied on your faith. Can you give me a little bit more substance on that? I've had some people very close to me recently have breast cancer. I had a little scare too. So I want to know how you handled that. And when was this?
So this was in 2008, and believe it or not, I was ready to open up my fitness business. So 2 months before I was all in on this fitness business, I was opening up Kelley's Boot Camp for Women because I wanted to teach women how to get really strong and healthy in their minds and their body. I got that diagnosis. So that was, like I said, 2008, which I am breast cancer free. All those years, I know, it's amazing. I feel so blessed. And, but that was the start of it. So when I got that phone call, obviously it was a rock bottom moment for me. I mean, who would ever think here I was, the fitness girl, like I'm my community. I'm ready to train women and be the strong and healthy one. And yet there I was hearing the words, you have cancer. And so, oh my gosh, there it is.
I'm serious. I am telling you that body, I sent that to Lynn and I was like, look at her. Look at her. You know what it does for me? It makes me want to work harder in the gym. Honestly, like I am so impressed by just even that, all the things that you do, but it's a lot of work. And when I look at that, I'm like addicted to the climb for sure. She does not give up. She works hard. You earned that body. I love it. Okay. Anyway, go for it. So keep talking.
Thank you. No, thank you. It's just that picture just totally threw me off. I haven't seen that picture in a little while, but hearing the diagnosis about me having cancer, I mean, it really was, Deb. It was rock bottom. I was devastated. I I had to make a decision, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? I'm opening a fitness business. And I felt, mad and angry and even shame around it and embarrassed. I'm like, how am I going to tell these women that I have cancer? I mean, who's going to want to train with me? My mind started racing with all the negativity flooding me every single moment. What's going to happen to you, Kelley? Are you going to die? Are you going to, you know how that is? And the devil tries to attack us on every single angle. And I decided, as I told you about my mom and how I grew up, that I watched a woman suffer so much and still get out of bed and put her makeup on every day and still help people. She made an impact in people's lives my whole life. And I said, if she can do it, I can do this. She was a beautiful example, again, of resilience. So I made a decision. I said, I am not going to let this take me down. I am going to pretend it's not happening. I actually did. It was really a mind battle for a little bit. After the cry, after the normal things that a person would go through. I'm not a superhero by any means. I was laying flat on my floor for days. But I really had to snap myself out of it, make a decision and say, you know what? I am going to choose faith over fear. I'm going to choose courage over fear. And I'm going to choose strength. And that means I have to talk myself into getting up and facing what's going on. And this is my reality right now, but I am going to be okay. Because I believe that we have a choice. It's all about our thoughts. We hear this all the time, but it truly is. Whatever, I heard someone say once, whatever follows I am, those I am statements that we say,
yes,
will chase you down. So if I sat around saying, I'm sick, I am so tired, I'm so devastated. Well, I knew that those things would come and chase me down and destroy me. So I had to choose, I am going to be okay. I am going to keep going. I am going to make it through. I am going to be the fitness girl and be the example to these women. And it wasn't easy by any means. I always say it's not easy, but every single morning when I woke up, which, listen to this, I had to be up at 4:30 in the morning and I was tired. But we all have the same choices to make when you're faced with these things, no matter what you're faced with. It's the decisions that we make that can keep us on the climb, keep us moving backwards. And I just chose to choose faith. That's really what it came down to. That's when I really just dialed up my faith meter, as I say, and I decided to put one foot in front of the other, and that's what I did. And I really convinced myself that I was going to be healed. I told myself every single day, I will be healed. I will be healed. And thank you, Jesus, that I am, and I'm doing great. And it's been 15 years of being cancer-free, and I just feel so blessed.
Oh my gosh. It gives me chills. Like just having a couple of months ago, just the fear of having breast cancer, and it turned out that it's benign, but lying there waiting for the doctor to come back in, and my diagnosis was different than yours. And I thought the whole time after getting that, how grateful I was. Yes. But for my friends who didn't get that same diagnosis, how difficult that must be, because I could feel myself, my heart was racing, my breathing was heavy. And just knowing that even you, who's a very faith-fueled woman and a strong woman, was taken aback and had to regroup and choose that path. And I appreciate you giving us that story. What was your mother, her name was Norma.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And my mother-in-law's name is Norma, and she's a wonderful woman too. I mean, when I saw the name Norma, you don't hear that very often.
No, you don't. She's one of a kind.
Yes. And she was with you though, because she passed in 2017.
Yes.
So she was with you. What type of support was she for you was she still faith praying and said, you're going to be okay?
Oh my gosh. My mom she's seated at the right hand of Jesus. I know that for a fact. And she was just talk about faith fueled. I mean, this woman walked around with her Bible under her armpit my whole entire life. And I remember it being a little girl and even a teenager being like, what is she doing? Like, why is she reading all the time? It's so weird. And, and I, because, you know, my faith wasn't like developed yet, and I wasn't that close to God at that time, but she was my rock. She was my rock. She threw everything in my whole entire life. That's why I told you in the beginning, I was an only child, and it was a blessing because, you know, I used to get sad when I was young. Why don't I have siblings? But I look back and what a blessing it was to just have me and my mom. The bonds that we have was unshakable, unbreakable. She was all my best girlfriends wrapped in one. She was a mentor to me, a coach, a life coach, a marriage counselor. She
wore a lot of hats for you.
She wore a lot of hats for me. And, you know, when she passed, my mom passed, it was a sudden aneurysm. She was here at 7 a.m. and gone at 7 p.m. one day. And just another rock bottom moment that I had to climb my way out of because she meant everything to me. But yes, she was my support, to answer your question, in every single way. And I'm so thankful.
But, you know, so and like I said, I haven't made it through the full book yet. Unfortunately, I've been busy, but I'm going to, because it drew me right in. But then you even had issues with your son. You have two children. You have a daughter, and then you have a son. And then, and something happened with him. I didn't read the full story, but like, you've had a lot, because you know what, it's one thing when something's going on with ourselves. And that's the main reason I asked about your mother, Norma, because as faithful as we are, there's a different thing that happens to us when it's happening to our children. And I just, you know, you'd really have to dig deep and stay faithful. And so what was going on with your son?
Yeah, that was another traumatic time in my life. So my son was born, and at 6 months old, he started vomiting. And, you know, I thought he was sick. I took him to the hospital. Nope, he's fine. Well, he kept vomiting for a whole week, and he didn't have a fever. He was totally fine. But he would just be playing, and like, it would happen. And one weekend, his eyes crossed. I was at the Cape with my family, and I had my little baby in my arm, and I was like, oh my gosh, his eyes just crossed. Anyways, I brought him into the eye doctor, and the eye doctor looked at my husband and I and said, I'm sending you to the ER right now because I think your son has a brain tumor. So my legs went out from under me. I had to regroup in a minute. You know, this is my infant. And we rushed to the ER. I ended up in that hospital for about 4 weeks with the baby, having spinal tap after spinal tap. He had fluid that was building up. His head was huge. And they just kind of didn't give me a lot of answers. So an angel appeared to me, which was a friend of mine, who said, get your son, your baby, to Children's Hospital in Boston. And I cried my way into that office because they couldn't see me. And I cried my way into the office, made my own appointment by God's connections. And they put a shunt in his head that day. They shunted him. So he was 7.5 months old. And he just turned 17, August 1st. He's an athlete. He does everything, which I'm very proud of. But the story didn't end with a shunt. Now, as he turned 3 years old, you know, you bring your child to the eye doctor just to check their eyes at normal things that we do. As he was doing the test as a little boy, they're showing a pig in a house. My son only couldn't see out of one eye. They said, I'm so sorry, your child is blind in one eye. And again, it was just, my body went numb. I mean, these are like real, like you said, like, it's different when things happen to us, but my life it ended again. I was sick to my stomach. Like, I couldn't believe what they were telling me. They said, he's going to have to protect that one eye. They give you all these things. They're saying, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if somebody pencils him in his eye? Things happen.
And the other eye, yeah.
If anything ever happens to that other healthy eye, he will be blind. So it was very challenging. But again, you know what? God had his hand on this child. I prayed like no one's business, like a mother would, over him since. He plays lacrosse. He plays sports. He's 17. He drives. It's just, he's a beautiful blessing. I call my miracle baby. But it was very trying. It was just, a very scary moment in time going through all of that.
Mm. And you do have to have faith. And then, there'll be people who are watching this, or there are people who are out there who will say, it's a bad world. Bad things happen to me. And they get hardened to
Yes.
God and Jesus and the faith thing. They think it's just a bunch of baloney because bad things continue to happen to them. But you're proof that things can go really in a bad way, but the power of faith and the positive thinking, all of it, you're a testament to that.
Yes.
I don't know. Do you ever feel like, you're a strong person, but have you ever felt like, okay, thanks, but enough?
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you more stories. My dad was the healthiest guy I know. He's a runner from when he was 16 years old, 40 years running straight, 8 miles, 6 days a week, my whole entire life. Never took a Tylenol in his life. In 6 weeks before my mom, 8 months before my mom passed, my healthy dad was diagnosed with a rare blood cancer out of the blue.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I can tell you a lot of things that I've been through. So yes, I'm like, what is going on? Like another scary time. It's just, I'm already going through, my mom has arthritis. It was terrible watching her suffer my whole life, really. But without faith, I just don't even know how people do it, because where does your hope come from? I could lay in bed at night and just sit in fear, which would put me on medication and pills, because there were moments where I was having panic attacks. Is my dad going to die? My mom's sick enough. My dad takes care of her. Like, how are we going to do this? But that's where my faith, I turn it up even more when I'm going through things, because in the wee hours of the night, when you're afraid, when you're scared, if you don't have faith in God, something else besides yourself, I feel like that's why people crumble, and that's why we fall apart. When we have faith, that gives us hope, and we can muster up more strength when we have faith and a belief in something other than ourselves.
Yes. And I loved where you said, where you had quoted the scripture of faith of a mustard seed. And even if we only have the faith of a mustard seed and we pray for something, you can move mountains.
You can move
mountains. And also in your book, where you had said, you're not people. There are so many people who feel so alone and so isolated. And your message there too is you're never alone in your faith and your prayer. You always have him with you. And it's like, I know that, but even that part was a nice reminder to me. And I love the parts in there too, where it's about, you get busy and you get overwhelmed and you think, I'm like you, from what I can tell and what you've written, is I want to get, like, I have an idea. I want it done. I want it 1, 2, 3. I know how to get it done. Well, right now there's a lot of things I don't know how to do yet. And I have to learn it, and I have to rely on other people to help me, which is also very challenging for me. I don't like to ask for help. I like to just do it. So I'm learning how to, because I love to help other people, but for some reason I don't ever really enjoy asking other people for help. So I'm working on that. But a lot of what I started to read, I was like, oh my gosh, I needed this book like 2 months ago to start reading it, to prepare. But I know there's a lot of people out here who are going through some things. They might feel alone. And even if you're not alone and you have a family, there's times where there's tons of people around you, but you can still feel alone. But if you pray and you get closer to your faith, it's what you've done, and you are teaching people how to climb higher in their lives through
Yes.
this.
Yes. I mean, that's what I want to help everybody have faith and teach them how to have faith. And everyone's walk is so different.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, we can't compare and say, well, won't be like her, or my faith is, if you have faith, like you said, as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And that just means, if you're starting off and you don't even know what we're talking about, it's simple praying, just talking to God. That's
Yes.
it. That's all I do is just talk to him like I would talk to my husband or to you, Debbie. And
Yes.
it's just, you know what, God, I don't know what to say to you right now. I'm feeling I'm at wit's end. I can't take it anymore, but I just need your help. And
I loved at the beginning where you have, the foreword that's written and the all of it's really, really good. But I love where you have getting started. And then you just for today, try this and then write your little note. And it's like, you make it simple to where you feel like, okay, little bite-sized pieces every day. I got this, I can do this. And all of a sudden, you're addicted to the climb.
Exactly.
It's so good.
Exactly.
Well, I got to ask this because you are, you guys, you can find Kelley. It's Kelley. I should have put the ticker on there, Tyan. And hey, Ken Walls. And you can find you everywhere because you are, you're on all the platforms. The LinkedIn audience you have is absolutely incredible. And people, and your reels are great, everything. So you can find Kelley anywhere. And like your website and all of that, that's where people could find you if they want to sign up for whatever. I get your emails. So every day I get emails that are really faith-based, inspirational, motivational, really awesome stuff that you can read every day to get your day started. But what is it that I'm just going to see if Lynn can put this on there so we can get this on the ticker. I should have done this before we started. Where's the best place for people to find you, Kelley?
Honestly, I really am on LinkedIn a lot. So if they want to direct message me there, they can.
Okay. On LinkedIn, then that's fine. So you can see her name and the way it's spelled. And if you want to get in touch with her, private message her on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And it is incredible the amount of, I love what you put out anyway. Thanks. And I can see why everyone loves it. Oh, thanks, Ken. Both of you rock. So my point to all of this is this: you're everywhere, and we know a lot about you because, of your book and all of the things, but what can you tell us something that would surprise people to know about you?
Yes, I can. I am a homebody and more of, I like being alone. Believe it or not, people ask me all the time. It's so funny because they're like, you must have fun. You must be busy all the time. So many girlfriends and all this. I'm like, I'm really content. I really am. I used to be super extroverted. And when I was young, I'm pretty much with my 5 people. And I would rather be home reading books, to be honest. And I know it's probably shocking, but that's something maybe
it would be maybe to other, but I just actually that was a question that was asked of me when Steve Orfis had me on his show, and I told him the same thing you just said.
Oh my gosh, see,
exactly,
we were meant to be friends.
And people will say, if whoever saw that podcast would say, "Nuh-uh, there's no way." But it is. And I think part of it for me, and I can't speak for you, but when I really self-evaluate and really go inside and be self-aware, I think it's partly because, and I love my alone time and I'm fine alone. And when I go out and to the world, I really care so much about making sure everyone feels good. And I don't know, it's almost like it's energy out. Then I feel like I just need to come home and just rest. It's almost like because of that people pleasing, got to make everyone like, I don't know what it is. I just think that I'm more happy the less I do, which is shocking to people because when I am out, I'm having fun. I enjoy it, but it's a lot of energy out too.
Yes. When I'm out, I go. But then
All in.
and it's funny because so I'm married to a huge extrovert, like the life of everything, knows everybody. He's like the mayor. Like, literally, it's funny. And he keeps me very busy. So
Yes.
he's always like, what do we want to do? Do you want to
Yeah.
go out? He would go out 7 nights a week and like go to dinner and whatever. He even asked me tonight, he's like, oh, the kids aren't home. Do you want to? I'm like, no, I don't. I want to just be home and make my own chicken and broccoli and sit home. He's like, okay. Do you want to go? So it's funny. So I think there's a role in me. Like he likes to be so busy all the time, but I just like I'm very content, Debbie. Like, I don't know. It's funny. I became that way as I got older. I'm very happy doing my thing. I love learning. I'm so into personal development. And like I said, I'll buy 5 books and have 5 books going at once. I love doing that. So
yeah, that's I when you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy that she's saying that right now, because of course people think, you're putting stuff out there, but you're helping people with your reels and stuff like that. You're also in the comfort of your own home
exactly.
when you do those.
Exactly.
I was going to ask you too, because you are, fitness, you care about your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, all of these things. What does a typical day of Kelley look like?
It's pretty much the same. I wake up and right away I read my Bible and whatever other book that I'm reading. I like to do my quiet time. And I don't put a time frame on it because sometimes I get really into what I'm reading, whatever, my prayer time. Sometimes it's 5 to 10 minutes. It just depends on my spirit, but that's automatic. And then it's my workout. Those 2 things are the same. And my shake. I have 3.
Yeah, your shake. I wanted to ask you about that. So like every day you work out of some sort, like weights every day, or just like weights 3
5
times?
days a week. I do, so if I can get a Saturday, I'll do a Saturday, but I'm not like set on it. As long as I'm pretty much a Monday through Friday person.
Yeah.
I love my Peloton. If I could do the Peloton 7 days a week, I probably would. I was addicted to that for a while, but I mix it up. I do weights for sure. Yes. At least 3-4 days is free weights.
What's your favorite? Do you ever do boxing or any cardio other than, Peloton is?
I do Peloton. That's my cardio. And, I do run on the treadmill a little bit, but when I do that, it's more of a sprints, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 10 rounds, boom, done. It's the best fat burner.
When is the last time you did a fitness show?
Last time I did a fitness show was 9 years ago, 9-ish years ago, 9 to 10.
Did you ever go to the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic?
No, I didn't.
That's huge. We used to go every year and visit. And
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And we actually had Frank and Diane Cheatham, who own a fitness, not a huge place. And they were always at the Arnold Classic, gave my husband and I tickets to have dinner with Arnold and his wife at the time. He was still married to Maria. But it was like a whole thing that we just kind of like fell into. They're like, hey, you guys, come here. Do you want these tickets? We can't go. And we're like, seriously? So we went to that. It was so fun. But what was the biggest? You're a 4-time champion of fitness, bikini. What is it called? I can't remember.
So I competed fitness competitions, but I did compete in the bikini division. Yeah. And I did 4 shows. National shows. I did Miami, Vegas, New England, and like the Rhode Island area. Yeah. And I did 4 shows and won all 4 titles. It was insane.
How do you prepare for something like, it's all the workout, but then the food and all of that. Well, which one was this?
This one was the Rhode Island show. It was the WBFF Federation. This was an amazing show because they put me in the general class. Like usually they do 30 years to 40, 30 to 40. And I was 38 at this time.
Mhm.
And I was in with the 20-year-olds. Isn't that so
And
funny?
you won, girl.
It was crazy. It was
Hey,
so crazy.
listen, don't put Kelley, don't even. Oh my gosh. When I saw those pictures of you, I'm just like, you listen, we as women, how do you feel about that? Have you ever had the green monster get you, or you're not a jealous person? How do you feel about, I love supporting other women.
I do. I love supporting other women. And, like you said a while back in our conversation, when you
Oh,
see
hold
that
on a second.
picture,
There we go.
it's exciting to know that, wow, oh, did you lose me?
Now you're
Oh,
back.
I'm back. Okay. No, it's just I get motivated when I see other women doing those things. And no, I don't get jealous. Maybe back in the day, I used to be jealous like a normal girl, but I've learned over the years that if I'm seeing women do things that are truly amazing or
Mhm,
sculpting their body at 60, that
mhm.
just shows me as a woman that if she can do it, I can do it if I really want to. I feel like we need to switch that and stop thinking that, oh, she's better than me. And I try to teach my daughter this, who's 24, that when you see other women excelling or doing amazing things, that means you can too.
Hmm.
So that's really what we have to. I mean, I have a 60-year-old woman that looks like that picture now. I don't look like that picture right now.
Well,
I work out.
I'm sure you're very close to that. I've seen recent pictures, Kelley, but that's okay. I am 100% on board with that mentality of, if you see someone else, I'm inspired by you. I am inspired by you. And there are other women in my life who I get like fired up, like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, you go. And then I'm like, what can I do? I can do this too, And so I really have it. I also have a daughter, and I have a son too, but I've always tried to instill that in her. And just recently she's coming around and she'll admit to me that she's had those envious, jealous thoughts about other people.
Mhm.
But she's like, the other way to live is so much happier. And, you get content in your own skin, and then you can be happy for other people. And
Absolutely.
I've had her on the show, and we've talked very candidly. She says it like it is. She's a little rough around the edges sometimes, but that's why I love her,
I love it. I love
she's
it.
who she is. And but
Exactly.
it's interesting. So like, I wanted to share with you a couple. Do you take magnesium glycinate? This is something, listen up, guys and girls. What do you take vitamins?
I've never really been a big supplement person. I take collagen every day. I believe in
What kind
that.
do you take?
I take Modere collagen.
Oh, I've heard about Modere. And
It's
so it's tried and true. How long have you been taking it?
I've been on it 3 years. So
You like it?
I do. It's a liquid. You just take, it's in the fridge. I take a swig every day. And I love it. It's just, we need that collagen
Yes.
for our
Yes.
joints, everything. It's good for a lot of different things. But besides that, I'm not that big on supplements, to be honest with you. But you mentioned magnesium, and I
Yeah,
do
so I
have it
have
in my.
what I have right here. Do you take these?
I take
Magnesium
that.
glycinate.
So mine is a powder, and
Okay.
I take the magnesium called Relax or something. It's in Whole
Okay.
Foods, and
Yes.
I don't take it every day. I should. I should, because it's also a great supplement to take. But I try to really get a lot of my nutrients from my vegetables. I believe
Yeah.
that food is our fuel.
It is.
And
I 100% do too. Do you juice? And I heard you say protein.
I do. I love like my spinach and kale smoothies and avocado, and I love that stuff. I mean,
And
I'm
so
not.
every day you're eating what your body really needs. And I read a little part where you said, our bodies aren't meant to have all this processed stuff, and it does slow us down. So when
Yeah.
you're feeling groggy and all of that, it could very well be that we're just not feeding and fueling our body with what we need. But
Uh-huh.
I feel like sometimes you can't get all the nutrition perhaps that you need in a day. And I do use a supplement, uh,
Mhm.
vitamins. But this
Mhm.
stuff, the reason I brought this up is because the more I've learned about the magnesium glycinate, there's a lot of different types of magnesium. There's nitrate,
I'm gonna write it
First
down.
of all, before I go off on my tangent, Amy Goldbach asked what brand. Amy, do you mean what brand of magnesium or do you mean what brand Kelley takes? It's Modere collagen. It's liquid, right?
Yes, I actually am an affiliate with them. If anybody wants to learn about it, I can send them information. They can message
Yes.
me
So
on LinkedIn.
message Kelley on LinkedIn and she will give you the link to Modere. I'm going to be doing that
Yes,
too.
yes.
Because I might want to try it because right now I'm just on Vital Proteins and it is a powder.
Oh, yes,
I've been using that for about 4 or 5 years, and,
yes,
I'm ready to change it up. Collagen, yeah, it's Modere.
yes,
Amy, text her in LinkedIn, and she
yes.
will send you the and or
Sure.
I can get it you know what, Amy? I can get it from her, and I can send it to you. I'll text it to you. Don't worry about it. But now the magnesium glycinate, what I've learned about it is it really helps with good sleep. It helps you
Yes,
move, meaning the next movements.
yes,
And
yes,
it is, it helps muscles. It helps your muscles, like if you work out with weights and stuff, like not right. It's just good overall. And when I started going through menopause, I started taking 2 capsules every single night and it really helped me sleep. So my doctor told me continue to take that. All of Americans, we don't get enough magnesium in our natural diet.
mhm,
So take it. And it's helped me so much. So I always want to share. And
yes,
since you're fitness and you look like you do, I just wanted to pick your brain on what all you do. So the
yes.
collagen's big and you eat well.
I do. Overall, I believe I live my life 80/20 with most of every area of
Yeah.
my life. 80% my food is pretty spot on. And then the other 20% is room for the pizza and whatever else I want. But I
Sure.
do believe in getting my spinach. I can tell when I'm groggy, like you said, or
Yeah.
tired, or I need my iron. I need to get my green veggies. Ladies, if you're over 40, green veggies are the key. So you can thrive and just feel alive. So any green veggies are great. And I try to just make sheet pans of those and have them every day. I make a bowl
Right.
and I get a lot of veggies. I don't eat a lot of, if I didn't have to eat meat, I wouldn't. I haven't had any red meat in 25 years, but I do eat chicken breast and a lot of, beans and things like that for my protein. So I believe protein is super important for
Oh,
us.
yeah. Well, especially you would know that because building
Yes,
muscle and
yes,
density and all that, you have to have the protein for sure. I
for
have
sure.
3 winners for the books. I can't just okay, so I'm gonna send out 3 books, okay? Sarah Gilstrap, you win. Tess Parker, you win. And Amy Goldbach, you win. 3 books will be mailed out to you guys.
Oh,
So be
thank
ready to be inspired, people. Let me tell you right now.
you.
Sarah, Tess, and Amy Goldbach. So, what I ask every single person that comes on the show, because the show is called Find It, I want to ask you, what have you found in your life that you can share with us to inspire us to find it too?
I have to say faith. I found my faith, my relationship with God to be the energizing piece that I was missing in my life. And I'm really, if you don't have faith, I reach out to me, please. I will help you. I'll give you some steps to do. I'll give you I have a free devotional. I have a
Mhm.
free power statements just to get you started. But I found my faith in myself and in God. And it's just such a blessing
Well,
because
do you feel like that's amazing, but do you feel like you found because that's interesting when you said found faith in yourself. That's a
Mhm,
big deal because
mhm.
many times if you're just blindly going along and you don't have faith in yourself, but the faith that you found in yourself did come from faith in God, probably.
It
I mean, that
did.
probably came first.
It did. And when I said I found faith in myself, I actually found that I started to just bet on myself more, that I wasn't waiting anymore for permission from other people to do the things that I wanted to do. I had to really start believing in myself that I'm capable. Like I told you, I talk to myself all day long. I have so many mantras that I stand on, and I really, I believe we all need to have faith in ourselves that we're all capable of doing great things in this world. We just have to really believe in ourselves. And I didn't have that when I was younger. So that's something I did find as I got older,
Yeah.
well into my 30s even. I finally found the belief in myself that, you know what, I'm here to do something big, and I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to be fierce like your mug and take
Yes.
chances on myself. And
you know
I
what,
love
Kelley?
it.
I love everything that you've said. And the bigger key here is that I know what you're saying. You believe, and I believe it. You come off different than, we hear people all the time, and we go through our daily life telling us, oh, have the faith, whatever. But I don't know. There's something about the delivery, and also knowing now what you've gone through in your life. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm just so grateful that Joe put you on my path, and that we have met, because you're truly an inspiration. And a beautiful package. You're just beautiful on the outside and on the inside, just a lovely person all around. So I want to thank you again for being here. And thanks to everyone who joined us live. And I will make sure I get those books mailed out to you guys. And before we go, is there anything else, any message that I didn't ask you that you would like to leave these good people with tonight?
So I'll share one of my mantras that changed my life, because you know how we all have two voices in our heads. We have the good girl and the bad girl, or the good boy and the bad boy. Well, the bad one likes to creep up all the time and tell us lies and make us feel not good enough and all the things. So my mantra I want to share with you, take it, write it down. I have this written on every glass in my house, in my gym especially. But it says, I will not be defeated by my inner negative voice. So when fear starts creeping up, or worry, anxiety, just negative thinking, stop it dead in its tracks. You have a choice, and repeat the mantra. And I promise you that fear will slowly dissipate. It will go away in the middle of the night. If you're fearful about things, your inner voice, whatever one you're feeding and fueling, is going to win. And if you don't take control of that inner voice and speak to it with positivity and say, I will not be defeated by my inner negative voice, that other voice will win. So take that mantra. It was life-changing for me. And
That is awesome.
I don't remember if I've been saying it for so long. I don't
say it one more time.
I will not be defeated by my inner negative voice. It's taking your power back. And it's like this. It happens instantly. Like hope rises up inside you. And it's almost like, I got this. I can do it.
I love it. Woo! That's good stuff. I love that. And that's something we all can remember. It's not like a book mantra.
Nope.
Short and to the point.
Yep.
Negative Nancy, go home. We're ready to fight that. Take my power back. Bye-bye.
That's right.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Kelley. Hang on, because we would just want to chat with you a few minutes before we let you go. And I want to let everyone know that next week at the same time, I'm going to do a different podcast. I'm going to have 3 women on at the same time with me. And our topic is going to be mothering and fathering, parenting through our child's different stages, and especially during schools starting back, and whether you have a child starting kindergarten for the first time, or your child's leaving for college. How are we handling it? How we doing? Just let us know. We'll be on next week. We'll be a panel having a conversation that we'd love for you to join in on. So come and see us Wednesday night next week. I think that's the 30th. I don't know. It's coming up. It's on Wednesday, next Wednesday. So take care. Thanks for watching. Thanks again, Kelley. See you next week.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Thank you.
That floats around me.